Okay, welcome everyone. I just read a comment. So just a quick test before starting, just a quick sound check and video check. If you can hear my voice and see the presentation, just type on the chat that everything looks good. Okay, thank you. So this presentation is just a very short presentation, is because I have tons of questions about the VRP350 system that we do in the Gamma Optimizer room, and I have lots of educational posts about this and mathematical ones, but a member wanted an plain English version of the system. Okay, so this is the plain English version of the system, the explanation of the system in plain English without any math or very little math. So that's what I titled the presentation, Being the Casino, or how to extract edge from risk neutral options pricing, which is actually what the VRP350 system does. Now, it's a very complex system, but at the end of the day, what we want to be is to be in a position where we accumulate positive edge, which is what a casino usually does. That's what they do. So let's start right away. Okay, so in the first place, there is this misconception about options. Now, like the whole casino metaphor is very common. It's used amply in the whole world of trading, but in reality, dealers are not quite a casino. Option dealers are not really a casino. When you buy an option from them, when you are trading options with dealers, they don't really take the other side of your trade. If you buy an option for Tesla at a certain level, a call option, for instance, so you are betting that Tesla will go up in price, and the dealer sells the option to you, it doesn't mean that the dealer thinks that Tesla is going down. No, it doesn't mean that he's taking the other side of your trade, because the dealer is doing the same trade with tons of people, and some people are buying calls, some people are buying puts, or people are selling calls, some people are selling puts, and the dealer doesn't care. He just fulfills all these orders. So the dealer is not taking the other side of the trade. They are not a casino. What they are doing is they're doing something way more sophisticated than a casino. They are collecting the spread between the different market participants. No? So if you buy a call from a dealer, then another guy sells another call, and so forth and so on. They just collect the spread in every transaction, and they make tons of money doing that. They collect 20 cents here, 20 cents there, and suddenly the 20 cents become millions of bucks. Okay, sometimes there are, the order flow is not balanced. So sometimes buyers and sellers are not quite balanced. So dealers start accumulating risk. Okay, they start accumulating directional risk, and they solve the problem by hedging it. They hedge the directional risk. They don't want to take risk because that's not their business. Their business is to collect the spread. So they don't want to take any directional risk. So they do gamma hedging. And that's how that connects with the gamma, the GT level that I post all the time is related to gamma hedging, which is a completely different subject. The key idea here is that dealers are always neutral. They don't take risk, or they don't take the risk you think they are taking. No, they incur some amount of risk, but most of the time they just price options in what is called a risk neutral world. And here is the key of all of the systems. It opens the door for a lot of things. The fact that dealers are operating in a different world that we are operating. Now, we are taking risk. We want Apple to go up, we want Tesla to go up or to go down or whatever, but dealers are not. No, they don't care. So that asymmetry between market participants can be exploited. Okay, so another interesting concept here is the defined risk concept. The defined risk is when you buy an option, by the nature of the option, the good thing is right there, from the moment you did the trade, from the moment you enter, you know how much money you're going to lose. So you know ahead of time how much money you're going to lose, which is basically the premium paid. If this option doesn't work and it expires out of the money, you lost the premium. So in a sense, it's good to have defined risk, like I know what is my defined risk, but the problem is I don't know how much money I'm going to make. I could make a few cents if the underlying just finish a little bit above the strike, or I can make tons of money if there is a massive spike in price or a massive fall, then I make tons of money. But the thing is, from the moment I enter the trade, I don't know how much money I'm going to make, and that's problematic. That's problematic in particular for those of us that like to do systematic trading. Or we want to have a system that operates every day, every week, or whatever at a certain point of time, and we want to have defined risk. Of course, it's really good to have defined risk. We know exactly how much we're going to lose, but we also want to have defined profit. We want to know in advance how much money we're going to make in the position. Okay, that's very important for us to evaluate edge. I want, in particular me, I want the parameters of the trade to be well defined from the very beginning. So the question becomes, could it be possible to design a system like that, to design a position, a trade that has defined risk and defined profit? And the answer is yes. And I introduce here the concept of binary options, which I know is scary for those of you that have been around for a long time. It's a scary concept. But conceptually, they are very simple. A binary option is just an option that is priced between 0 and 100. The option costs either $0 or $100. If it's a bet on a particular event, if the event happens, if the event that we are thinking actually happens, you get paid $100. If it doesn't, you get paid 0. So it behaves like a normal option, but notice that the amount of money that you get paid is known in advance. You get paid $100. So for instance, there is a binary option for something, I don't know, that it costs $40. If you win, you get paid $100. So you make $60 in net profit. But if you lose the 40. So notice that this position has defined risk, $40, and defined profit, 60. So binary options are a fantastic way of implementing a systematic trading structure. The problem is, for all practical purposes, there are no binary options available for SPX. In fact, there are no binary options available for anything. And this is a historical artifact of massive fraud that happened during the 2000s. So I don't know if you guys are young enough or old enough to remember what happened in the dot-com bubble around 2000. There was massive fraud with binary options. Everyone and their mother were doing the binary options. Basically, binary options were the crypto of the 2000s. Okay, everyone wanted to be rich, and you have all these mom and pop binary option dealers popping all over the place, and people lost a lot of money. And exactly the same that's happening in crypto right now. It was the wild west, and the SEC got really tough on this, and basically binary options are illegal in the US, or they are not legal most of the time. That's what I put an asterisk. There are a few exchanges that allow them, but no one trades them. So for all practical purposes, we don't have binary options. Okay, so let's keep that in mind and go back at the casino. How the casino makes money. And I'm going to pick the American Roulette, which is a game that most people should be familiar with. The American Roulette has 38 possible outcomes. 36 of them are numbers, and then you have the 0 and the double 0. For those of you that live in Europe, you know that Europeans only have the 0. Americans are horrible, though. They added the extra, the double 0. But that's not the issue. The issue is, the key here is, if you win, you only get paid 35 times your original bet, which is, it will be fair if there were no 0 or double 0. Now, that will be a fair payout, but no. The casino is paying in profit less than the risk you're incurring. In other words, they are overpricing the risk. So because of the overpricing of the risk in every bet, they have an edge of around 5.1%. So that means that they get to keep $5 of every 100 that you bet per trade. Now, that's basically how the casino works. And notice here, very interesting how the casino operates. Of course, the roulette, if it's fair, we're talking about like a legal casino. If the roulette is fair, then no one knows the outcome. No one knows. I mean, it's impossible to predict if the outcome what is the outcome of the bet. But the casino doesn't care. They really don't care, because what they know that it doesn't matter if you win or not. In a sufficiently large number of bets, they will always win, because they are accumulating positive edge. Okay, so now with this knowledge, I pose the questions: can it be possible that using binary options we could be the casino in some sense? I mean, that we could be like a casino where we have an implicit edge on the bet? And the answer, as you might expect, is yes. And that's the VRP350. I mean, you can design a whole bunch of systems, but the VRP350 is just a particular incarnation of this system. So there are no binary options in SPX, but there is a very interesting fact that we can replicate binary options with tight vertical spreads. And it's very easy to see. No? From a mathematical point of view, a mathematical option is just a vertical spread that has a width that approaches 0. Now, like for those of you that like calculus or advanced mathematics, if you take the limit of the width to 0, that's a binary option. So, for instance, if we buy a spread in SPX that is 5 points wide, and it costs us $2.50, it's basically the same thing that buying a 50% binary. It's exactly the same. You know, we're paying half of the cost. If the spread ends out of the money, we lost $2.50. But if the spread ends in the money, we make $2.50. So it's exactly like a binary, you know, like a 50% binary. Of course, it's not a perfect replication, because what happens if it is right there in the middle of the strikes? But let's ignore that for now, and let's assume that it's either out of the money or in the money. So the VRP350 system is basically that. It's a system that is, that's what is called VRP350, because it's replicating a 50% price binary, and the binary expires 3 sessions ahead. So for instance, if we do a trade today, the trade today will expire on Wednesday. No? So we are doing a system that expires 3 sessions ahead. So I asked the question, like if you do a system, why will the system work? I mean, like if I do this, how do I get the edge? I mean, if I get this, where is the edge coming from? So the edge comes from 2 sides. One is, remember that dealers really don't care about anything. Like really, they don't care if the market goes up and down. They don't care. Notice that this replicated binary option is basically a price that is constructed from vanilla options, like the options that they price. And so the final price is something that dealers don't have control. They don't care about what the final price of the vertical is. They are pricing each individual option. The vertical is not a consideration in the pricing. So right there is a little disconnect between the binary. The binary option that we are replicating is just an artifact, okay? It's just an afterthought. It was not planned to be a binary. They don't care that it is that you can construct a binary. They are pricing the individual option. And on top of that, we have a neural net. I really have tons of neural nets, but we have one that is called Ultra-Tree. And Ultra-Tree is a net that is looking for overpricing and underpricing of options. And Ultra-Tree can tell us if that particular binary approximation is overpriced or underpriced. And that's very interesting, because if Ultra-Tree is telling us that the binary is underpriced, we just buy it, no? So we buy the binary, and if it's overpriced, we sell it. And that's what the VRP350 system is sometimes we buy a vertical spread, sometimes we sell it, and we are exactly assuming 50% risk, no matter what we do. But the interesting thing is, since this net was trained in 2021, the precision is around 63%. And you think, oh, but 63% is nothing. I mean, this thing loses pretty much 4 trades out of 10. Yes, it loses a lot, but if you see, you have a system that if we play it, we are assuming a 50% cost, but we are winning 63% of the time. We are a casino right here. Basically, we are accumulating 30% edge, no? If the system were completely fair, we will win 50% of the time, but we win 63. So it's more than enough to accumulate positive edge. So in fact, this particular system is more than double than the edge of a casino, because the casino is only making 5% per trade per bet in a roulette, but we are making 13% per trade. So that's a substantial amount of money, and that's why the system works so well. The system has worked really well since introduced, and through different market conditions, through a massive bull market, through a tremendous bear market that we are seeing right now, through like completely unstable market up and down, because the system really doesn't care if the market goes up and down. What we care is if we can extract edge from these trades. So that's how we make money with VRP350. But also notice that the system fails quite a bit. Notice that we expect 4 failures out of 10 trades. And you have to, if you are doing a system like this, you have to be prepared for the losses. That's the whole point. This is a system like no one can predict what the market will do. But what we can do is we can play the system, we can follow the signals, and we know that long term, after a certain amount of trades, probably 10, 20 trades, we are going to have a positive profit because the edge is accumulated. Also notice that this is like a roulette. If you place a bet on a roulette, you cannot stop early from the bet. Like it's all or nothing. You place the trade, you hold the trade until expiration, and it's interesting because we can see that if the trade could be failing early on, like the market, like let's say that or binary wins if the market goes up, but the market is massively down the next day. You are very tempted to close the trade, but don't do it. Who knows what the market will do? That's not the point. Like, we are not really betting on the direction of the market. We're just entering a trade. We are holding the trade until it expires. It either expires out of the money or in the money, and we don't care. And I put a comment here about don't listen to my executive override. Sometimes I stop out early of the trades, and I try to override it, and I fail. It's so funny. This is a whole meme, ongoing joke on my room that my failure rate of overrides is 100%. Every time I override a trade, it always wins. Okay, and the reason I override the trade sometimes is just for practical purposes, because I am traveling, because I don't want to monitor, or for whatever. But the system works really well. Just leave it alone. And I have a good question. This is 63% assume every trade is taken and there are no overrides. That's correct. The 63% is the all or nothing version of the system. Like, it's a system with no stops. It's a system with no early profit. It's just a system that just buy the spread or sell the spread, whatever is the signal, hold it until expiration, and that's it. It's a very simple system. It is supposed to be very simple. Also, the system works with SPX options, and remember, SPX options are cash settled, so you can let these things expire and don't worry about anything, because they are cash settled. You only get cash. There are no shares to deal with. There is no risk of assignment risk or anything like that, because they are European cash settled options. So it's a very simple system, and you only have to hold the position 3 sessions. No, it's not a long holding period. Okay. So that's pretty much it about the VRP350 in plain English. And just to demystify a little bit, it's a very simple system. It's a binary replication with a neural net, and it has a decent edge, 13%. Even if it had only 55% winning rate, there is still edge. I have another really good question about Paul. Does this include the bid-ask spread loss? Okay, so this opened the door to an interesting concept. Remember, folks, I know for you, when you come from the world of shares or futures, you come from a world of liquidity takers. You are liquidity takers. When you come into my room, into the Gamma Optimizing room, we are liquidity providers. We always provide liquidity, always. Okay, so this system provides liquidity. The system never operates at bid-ask. This system operates at mid, and I know that people are very skeptical of this, but I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm telling you, options operate at mid. Like most of normal option people, they are happy hitting the bid or hitting the ask, but never do that. Enter at bid, in particular with SPX options. My God, you have options that the bid ask is gigantic. You cannot hit the bid, you cannot hit the ask. And when you do these replications, we replicate at mid. And this system and you can ask the members of my room. The system enters at mid. If you have to give 5 cents from mid, is a lot. Like sometimes that's what we do. We just give like 5 cents. That's what we do from mid. We never hit bid or ask. So yes, the system already includes the 5 cents. This is with the 5 cents slippage that we include to get the trade going. But it's 5 cents from mid, not 5 cents from bid or ask. Okay. How frequently it generates trades? Okay, so that's another good question. The system generates trades every time we have options expiring, and CBOE now has options 4 days of the week, and in a couple of weeks it will be 5. So we have pretty much almost daily signals. We have 4 signals per week right now, and soon it will be 5 per week. I have a good question. How to know which trade has a higher probability of success than another? You notice that there is not quite, the probability of success is not for individual trades. That's a great question. It's like the roulette. Who knows if the number 3 is going to fall or the 17? There is no way to know in advance what particular bet has a higher probability of success. We don't really care about that. What we want to know is what is the total edge of the system after some period of time. So we can say right now that the system, every trade has a 63% probability of winning. That's what we can say. We cannot say that the trade today, Friday, it has higher probability than the trade tomorrow. Even though the neural net does handle some kind of probability, that is an internal probability to a complete different distribution from the neural net, but it doesn't reflect the probability of the system itself. Okay, so we should not confuse the two things. Okay, remember, this is not about individual trades, this is about a whole collection of trades. How quickly will we need to react once a signal is generated? Okay, that's really good. The system is basically a system that trades at the end of the day. So in fact, we enter the trades around 4:05, 4:10. Remember that SPX options trade after the market closes. So we wait for the market close, and SPX options trade for 15 minutes until 4:15. So we enter the trade usually around that period, after the close, before the options close. And there is a reason for that, there is a reason to enter at that period of time, but you could enter at 4 if you want, It doesn't have to be fast. The system, most of the time, is a very slow system. No, the signal is there, and is there a signal or there is not a signal? No, and you choose if you want to enter. I mean, if you are following a system, you have to follow the system, every signal. So, but it's usually around 4:05, 4:05, 4:10 that we do that. I have another question. You write some probability numbers under each trade, like what is that and what does the impact success potential? Yeah, that's really good. So remember, the ultranet decides when the binary is overpriced or underpriced. So that probability that you see is the probability from the ultranet. If that number that you see on the variance center is 50%, I can show it right here. Let me show how a trade looks like, for those of you that haven't seen a trade. Let me see if I can flip my screen here to the second scene. Yes. So this is how the trade looks like, the VRP350, this one right here. Okay. So you can see the trade details, like you can see it all day long, but we only enter at the end of the day. So right now it looks like it's a bull spread, right now, so that means that we are selling this put spread. And you see a probability. This probability that you see here has nothing to do with what is the probability of success of the trade or not. This is just the probability that Ultra is giving to the binary. So Ultra is thinking that this binary should be priced around 47%, which means that it is overpriced. Like the mid price is coming at 255, a little higher than 50. So that's why it's recommending selling it. Okay. So whenever this number is less than 50, this recommends a sell, a credit. And whenever this number is higher than 50, it recommends a buy. That's how the ultra. So that's how the probability here should be used. This has nothing to do with that. Oh, we have whatever probability of success. No, this is like how overpriced or underpriced the spread is. Because remember, this spread is supposed to be the 50% binary. So we are all the time contrasting it with the probability from the neural net, and that's how we decided we should buy or sell it. Okay. If I want to test or try this system, what is the practical minimal cash? Okay, so the trade itself is very cheap. No, it's only $250. No? That's what the trade costs. The trade only costs $250. But remember, you fail 4 trades out of 10. Now, if you want to, so what I want is to have at least enough money for 10 trades. That's what we want. No, so I will say that's the minimum requirement, and the money for 10 trades is around $2,500. No, and in the room we rounded to 3,000 just for rounding purposes. Of course, you can scale it. No, you could scale this to a system that uses at least 10,000 for one contract. That way you have a bigger room, or when the system fails, your drawdown is not as big as the in terms of percentage versus your capital. But in general, it's up to you. No, if you really are a kamikaze, suicidal person, you could use only $250 and cross your fingers that the first trade wins. No, but at least in general, you want enough money for 10 trades, at least. No, it's like when you go to a roulette. The minimum bet in the casino is $5. You don't go with $5. No, you have in your mind, you say, how many trades do I want to do here? Okay. Okay, folks, so that's pretty much the system. I really wanted to give a quick presentation about it, and you are welcome to ask questions in the room. You are welcome to ask me questions through private messages, and hopefully this really helps with the conceptual view of what the system does, and that's why I try to make this thing just plain English as opposed to mathematics. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending in such a short notice. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. Take care, everyone.